A shale booster shot, refracs upward thrust as reasonably priced way to boost U.S. oil output. U.S. shale oil producers are returning to existing wells and giving them a 2D, high-pressure blast to raise output for a fragment of the price of finishing a brand new properly. These refracs are taking hold as shale oil producers appearance to take gain of $100 a barrel crude without making huge investments in new wells and fields. A global oil scarcity has prompted calls from U.S. President Joe Biden for shale manufacturers to spend extra in their earnings on growing output. But shale corporations were below stress for years from shareholders to recognition on returns in place of manufacturing growth. Their reluctance to spend money on greater output has led to tensions between the oil industry and the White House, that's underneath strain to rein in record $5 per gallon fuel prices which have contributed to decades-high inflation. Refracking may be something of a booster shot for manufacturers, a quick growth in output for smaller investment than a brand new properly. While some producers have dabbled in refracturing wells within the past, the approach is triumphing broader adoption as generation improves, growing old oil fields erode output, and businesses try to do more with less. Shortages of steel, diesel, frac sand and workers have doubled oilfield inflation for the reason that January, making this discount approach of boosting output even extra appealing. A refrac can be as much as 40% cheaper than a brand new well, in keeping with professionals. More importantly, it could double or triple oil flows from aging wells, said Garrett Fowler, leader running officer for ResFrac, which facilitates manufacturers optimize the approach. His organization has seen approximately 2 times as many inquiries related to refracs as compared to earlier years. For oil producers, refracs are a reasonably priced way to add output to existing pipelines. Their shorter of entirety time approach refracs can be scheduled between work on new wells, said Catherine Oster, who manages Devon Energy NYSE, DVN's Mid-Continent houses. You move again and find where you may be undercompleted and underfracked within the beginning, stated Oster. Besides, we've made the infrastructure funding. As you study your resource, you get those technical learnings that help determine which wells will benefit from a second shot, she said. How REFRAC works. The most not unusual refrac technique entails setting a metal liner inside the authentic nicely bore, after which blasting holes through the steel casing to get entry to the reservoir. In some instances, the procedure uses half as ton steel and frac sand than a new nicely, stated ResFrac's Fowler. U.S. oil production stays approximately 1 million barrels in step with day BPD under the 12.8 million BPD top in early 2020. Limiting output is the rapid decline rate of shale wells, that could see manufacturing fall by using 70% in their first 9 months. Flat spending should restrain output to contemporary ranges. While U.S. oil futures are around $104 in line with barrel, up 40% from a year ago, manufacturing expenses are higher on material and hard work shortages. Some producers are preserving again new spending over fears of a recession. Drill pipe, labor and frac sand costs have pushed drilling and well completion carrier fees about 20% higher from a year in the past, Texas shale producer Callon NYSE, CPE, Petroleum stated this month. Callon and Hess Corp NYSE, HES, which drills in North Dakota's Bakken Shale, currently hiked capital spending budgets over the fees. Hess introduced $200 million to its spending, half of because of inflation, whilst Callon added about $75 million. Techniques like refracturing will permit the industry to hold to harvest the oil and gasoline out of those reservoirs, said Stephen Ingram, a nearby vice president at top U.S. hydraulic fracturing company Halliburton NYSE, HAL. Another benefit, say oil service executives, is refracs do no longer require additional nation permits or new negotiations with landowners. The disruption to the environment also is much less due to the fact nicely web sites will have already got road get entry to, they mentioned. Considering inflation, supply chain problems, and rising wages, now is a fantastic time for operators to start looking at wells for refrac possibilities, mentioned Matt Johnson, CEO of power consultancy Primary Vision Network.